The cultural event I attended was called Movimento, which simply translates to movement in English. Movimento was a live stream that celebrated dance and cinema and Brazilian culture. It was presented and streamed by the Esperança Arts Center on February 24, 2021. This was a free event for students to learn more about the Brazilian culture. As I stated before, this cultural event was a celebration of dance and cinema in the context of Brazilian culture. This event depicted how Brazilian artists use dancing to tell stories and express themselves. I have included a clip from the live stream that I found very informative. The clip is from a film called Capoeira in Our Lives by Patricia Ovando. The clip is an explanation of capoeira and its origination.
Capoeira is an Afro-Brazilian martial art. It was developed by slaves that were brought to Brazil by the Portuguese. They used dance-like movements to disguise their skillful training, a playful ritual that would help them stay mentally strong and empowered, and would ultimately help them fight for freedom and ensure their liberty. It was an art form that was practiced in secret. After the abolition of slavery, capoeiristas were persecuted. It was illegal to be a capoeirista.
Capoeira was first seen in the north and southeastern regions of Brazil, where the majority of slavery took place. More specifically, it can be traced back to the cities of Rio de Janeiro, Salvador, and Recife. It was very popular in these three cities during the 18th century when these cities began to grow. Because the cities were expanding so widely, it caused more slaves to be brought over. This allowed for capoeira to be more prominently taught and practiced among thousands of people. It was very common for capoeira to be taught in quilombos. Quilombos, which we learned in class, are fugitive slave settlements. They were often challenged by Portuguese colonial troops and used capoeira to defend themselves. After slavery ended, employment was hard to find, so capoeiristas used their skills in different ways to make money. Criminals and warlords used capoeiristas as bodyguards and hitmen. Groups of capoeiristas, known as maltas, raided Rio de Janeiro. Afterwards, the Brazilian authorities deemed capoeira as a fighting advantage and consequently prohibited it. The events that took place as a result of capoeira are a huge part of Brazilian culture. It also reminds Brazilians of their roots, such as their ancestors and where they came from. The art of capoeira tells a story and serves as a reminder of the hardships that slaves had to overcome to survive. Diving deeper into the art of capoeira, I want to discuss the instruments being played, the songs being sung, and a famous capoeira teacher. The orchestra of capoeira is called a bateria and is usually composed of 5 instruments. These are the 5 instruments pictured to the left. Berimbau is a musical bow originating from Africa. The arc-shaped structure is made of beriba wood, steel wire, and dried, hollowed-out gourd. It is played using your left hand with the gourd facing your body. The instrument is balanced on the pinky finger, while using your thumb and index finger to alter the pitch with a coin or stone, similar to holding down strings on a guitar. The right hand holds a rattle called a cacice, and a wooden stick is used to string the steel wire. There are 3 different sized berimbau available. The largest and deepest pitch is called a gunga. The medium size is called the medio, and it plays opposite of the gunga. The smallest is called the viola, and has the highest and sharpest pitch. Pandeiro originates from East Africa, and it comes from the tambourine family. It is commonly made of either leather, snakeskin, or plastic. Atabaque is a hand drum. It is usually made of jacaranda wood, and the ropes used to attach the head and body of the drum is made of calf skin. There are 3 different sizes of this drum. The largest is called a rum and has the lowest sound. The medium size is called a rumpai, and the smallest with the highest sound is called the lei. The agogo is another African instrument. It is made of 2 hollow iron cones. A stick is used to strike the cones for sound. The reco-reco originated from native Brazilians and is a piece of bamboo that has multiple slits along the side. It is played by rubbing a stick back and forth over the grooves. The songs sang during capoeira have many meanings. A list of song topics are folk lessons, slavery, symbolic aspects of capoeira, ancestry and roots, religion, biographical, autobiographical, mythological, greeting, and farewell songs. There are also songs that directly invoke capoeira. A popular song choice is called a ladena. This is a solo usually sung by the eldest member of capoeira present. Another is the lovacal, which begins the call and response section of the rota. This type invokes God and capoeira masters while also giving thanks. Lastly, the corrido. Corridos are overlapping call and response, which is common to African singing. These are usually shorter songs. The most famous capoeira teacher is Manuel dos Reis Machado, also known as Mestre Bimba, who is pictured to the left. Mestre Bimba began learning capoeira when he was 12 years old with a navigation captain from Salvador named Bentinho. In those days, capoeira was still being persecuted by the authorities. By age 18, Bimba felt that capoeira had lost all its efficacy as a martial art and an instrument of resistance. He felt it had become a folkloric activity reduced to 9 movements. Bimba started to bring back familiar movements from the old capoeira and added movements from an ancient African fighting style called bateke. This was a type of martial art that he learned from his father. He also introduced movements created by himself. Bimba was the first to create a method of teaching to help facilitate learning, because until then, capoeira was only learned by watching and participating. Bimba was influenced by judo, boxing, wrestling, and stick fighting. He was first-hand in helping lift the prohibition of capoeira in the 1930s. After his performance for the governor of Bahia, he was successful in convincing the authorities that capoeira had cultural value, and soon afterwards the 40-year ban was lifted. In 1932, Mestre Bimba founded the first capoeira school in Salvador. Capoeira was looked down upon by upper-class Brazilians, so to change this narrative, Bimba required the students to wear uniforms, maintain high grades, show good posture, and uphold many more high standards. Bimba was given many awards and recognitions for his work, and he even performed for the President of Brazil. In 1973, Bimba moved to Guyana because he was unhappy with the lack of support he received from Bahia. A year later, he died of a stroke. Mestre Bimba will always be known as the man who restored the original values of capoeira. My experience of this cultural event was very positive. I was excited when the live stream began because it was very lively and there was a lot of upbeat music playing, which, as I stated before, traditionally goes along with capoeira. I had never seen or heard of capoeira before attending this live stream, so I was very attentive to the speaker. I loved watching the people in the live stream perform capoeira so beautifully, and I would really love to learn this martial art one day. My views of this cultural event was that it was very informative and entertaining. I learned a lot about the origin of capoeira and everything that goes along with it, such as the songs and instruments. The other speakers in the video talked about their journey to learning capoeira, which is inspiring to know that people my age and even older than me learned capoeira without having any previous knowledge of this ancient art. It was also heartwarming to see that this Brazilian tradition lives on, despite it once being prohibited. I believe that the Esperanza Art Center did a wonderful job with presenting to the viewers what capoeira is and how it came to be.